Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing The Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore, which was written by Jon Favreau and directed by Rachel Morrison, and was released on March 8th, 2023, and I thought it was a good episode. It just kind of dives into a lot of stuff I wasn't expecting to see right away, with Mandalore and the mines and everything there. I was kind of expecting that to be several episodes into the season, because in the last episode, it kind of set up a full season's worth of an adventure, or at least half a season, of Din preparing to go to Mandalore. But it's just here in the second one, and I was fine with that. In fact, I kind of liked that. There just wasn't enough story to really tell about preparing to go to Mandalore, and so I just kind of heading there right away. But, there was a lot of great stuff. There was a big reveal, or tease, I guess, at the end of the episode, which is exciting. But, I wouldn't say this was my favorite episode of the series, but it was the one I still definitely enjoyed. But the episode starts with Din heading back to Tatooine, where he meets up with Peli to ask the Jawas if they have the part for IG-11, which they straight up say they don't. So Din needs a new droid, which Peli offers him R5-D4, which Din eventually accepts. But, Tatooine's looking better than ever. I guess it was the Boonta Eve right now, or it's Boonta Eve. So, that was interesting. But, they're not on Tatooine long, as, they take out the dome window and make it the slot for R5 again. And so they head off and to Mandalore. But before you see them in space, Din and Grogu, before heading down to Mandalore, Din kind of teaches Grogu how to read a map, I guess. Shows him the areas or the planets and moons around Mandalore. And shows him Concordia, which they can straight up see, which I guess that's where Din grew up. And he says he never went to Mandalore, which I do find kind of funny because it's like right next to each other. How did you just not somehow go to Mandalore? But he also shows on the map where Kavala is and whatnot. But they head down to Mandalore, where they find it destroyed and everything, and very crystallized, like the crystal Din showed the armor in the first episode of the season. But Din sends R5 to scout the area. Obviously, R5 is very cowardly and doesn't want to, but Din gets him to go. R5 kind of turns the corner and Din and Grogu can't see, but eventually, on the scanner, he still sees R5. But Din eventually loses that signal, so he goes to investigate, and he heads out into this mine area where R5 went, where Din finds an underground city, but he gets attacked by these weird creatures. I think they gave them a name. I forgot what they're called, though. But, Din takes care of them with the Darksaber, which, he's still struggling to use the Darksaber. He finds R5 and heads back to the ship, where he looks at R5's report and finds that the air is breathable. And so, Din believes Mandalore to not be cursed, like Bo-Katan said. But Din and Grogu start to head down towards the mine into that underground city, which while exploring, Din kind of finds this old Mandalorian helmet, like in the dirt, rubble, whatnot. But he then gets attacked by this droid spider thingy, which Grogu tries to save him, but Din tells him to get back to the ship and go to Bo-Katan for help. But this droid thingy, it was like it's a spider, and then the spider was like kind of a vehicle, I guess, and the one droid is like in it. The droid, it kind of looked like something from it reminded me of something from the Clone Wars. I couldn't remember though, but the droid does take Din's weapons off of him, including the Darksaber. But, we see Grogu speeding back to the ship. I like this moment. I don't know why. I thought it was kind of funny seeing him in the pod. He uses the Force on one of those creature thingies again to take it out. But he gets back to the N1 Starfighter and into the cockpit, where he then points at the map to Kavala for R5, which I thought that was a funny moment. I really enjoyed that. Cute moment also. But they get there, and we see Bo-Katan's droid tell her that they have an unwanted visitor, which Bo looks out and sees the N1 and thinks it's Din. So she goes to confront him, saying she's going to deal with him once and for all, but doesn't find him and instead only finds Grogu, which she figures out they went to Mandalore. So we see her, Grogu, and R5 heading there in her Mandalorian starfighter. But, they get to the surface and Grogu kind of leads the way back to Din. I like some of these moments of Bo just kind of talking to Grogu. There's a moment where Grogu's kind of scared and whatnot, but Bo kind of gets him to calm down and lead the way to Din. Also, Bo talks about how she, met or knows Jedi, and if wondering how powerful in the Force Grogu is currently. Obviously, Grogu can't speak, so Grogu can't say much, or can't say anything back to her. Eventually, they do get back to Din, and Bo fights that weird droid thingy. Like I mentioned earlier, how the droid took Din's weapon, including the Darksaber, and it just lay on the floor. So Bo grabs the Darksaber and takes out that droid easily. I really like this action scene. Very badass scene. I quite liked it. She saves Din, but Din's kind of out of it, so Bo kind of takes him somewhere and lets him rest for a little bit. But when he wakes up, he wants to continue his journey to the mines, which Bo was going to take him back to the ship. But, she's also still like, why do you still want to go there? But she does agree to take him there, which along the way, she tells Din how she was, went to the mine, to Living Waters when she was a child. And she was taken there by her father, who, was the leader of Mandalore at the time. Which, she talks more about her father, which Din, tells her he would have liked to meet her, which she tells him he died defending Mandalore, which Din just says, this is the way, in a kind of, I guess, honorable way. But they get to the Living Waters where Bo reads this passage on the wall saying how it used to be a mythosaur lair, but, how the mythosaur was tamed by the Mandalore the Great and whatnot, which, Bo is obviously very, there's a bunch of mumbo jumbo, I guess, but then slowly walks up to the water, takes off his weapons and jetpack and whatnot, and starts to bathe in the waters, saying some ritual, but he kind of continues to walk deeper, and then he falls into the water, and so Bo goes and rescues him, which I guess the area has been destroyed or something like that, so the water is, I guess, much deeper than normally would be, I'm assuming. But it takes Bo a moment to find Din, but she eventually does and starts to take him up back to the surface. But she runs into this big creature, which looks a lot like a mythosaur, how mythosaur should look like. With canosaurs, you don't really exactly know how they look like, other than just the Mandalorian symbol. I'm not going to even assume it's a mythosaur. I'm 100% sure it is one, which is definitely cool, because, they are supposed to be, extinct. But I'm going to assume this is maybe the one they tamed, I guess, and instead of doing anything, they just kind of locked it in this water area. But because of the destruction, it's kind of opened the area up. Obviously, I don't know if that is the case, but that's what I'm just going to guess. But the episode ends with Bo bringing Din back up to the land area, I guess. We kind of get a close-up of Bo kind of, with the helmet on, reacting to what she just saw. But like I said, that's where the episode ends, which I thought it was another good one. I definitely liked how, in the last episode, it seemingly set up the season storyline, and then it just kind of, everything I thought was going to happen throughout the entire season, or a good chunk of the season, just kind of then just happens in this episode, which I'm totally fine with that. In fact, I kind of like that more, because it doesn't drag the season on. It can kind of move the story along even more this season. But the reveal of the mythosaur is a big one. I'm very excited to see where that will go and whatnot. But I liked all the stuff with Bo-Katan. I liked the one moment I really liked was Din teaching Grogu how to navigate the galaxy before they go down to Mandalore. I also liked R5. I'm happy Din seemingly has another companion with him now. But I also liked how cowardly R5 is. Also seeing Mandalore and the mythosaur in live action was cool. So, all in all, I thought it was a good episode. I wouldn't say it was my favorite episode, but still one I definitely enjoyed. So yeah, but my grade, I'm going to give it a B+. So yeah, but that's going to be it for this one. Next week I'll be reviewing Chapter 19, so you check that out then. But in the meantime, you check out my review on Chapter 17 for this episode and last episode. I did a little first thoughts YouTube short. Obviously, if you're watching this review, you don't need to watch that again. But next week, if you do, you can watch my Chapter 19 one. So yeah, but that's going to be it for this one. I was Arzu, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Being a Mandalorian's not just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy. That way, you'll never be lost.